Let's go. We are live, ready to go. What's up, Goose? What's up, number one LSU fan? We are here. And of course, this is all about you. This is what the live streams are all about. Okay. It is all about you. What are your thoughts on LSU football? It could be anything. Now, of course, we do recruiting towards the end of today's video. Of course, we do live streams after each and every football game. And obviously, a lot of us are still trying to figure out what exactly happened against Mississippi State. You know, I don't always say that there's wrong opinions. There's no such thing as a wrong opinion. By the dictionary definition, opinions cannot be wrong. Opinions are opinions. But the facts of your opinions can definitely be wrong, okay? And I wanted to start today's show with an opinion that I just cannot stand. And some of you had it. Now, a lot of you who are rational understand that this is silly, that some people legit, and I mean legit, want to go on ahead and bench Myles Brennan. Stop it, okay? This is why I did multiple videos on this very subject, and I'm actually going to release another video on this tomorrow. And as we say hi to TJ, we say hi to Tommy, we say hi to Leandra, who has a super cool Louisiana silhouette. I like that, Leandra. So, the number one thing, the LSU schedule set itself up so nicely, okay, where the first 3 weeks of the year were against teams that don't recruit in the top 15. Now, I say that all the time, the recruiting teams that are in the top 15. What does that actually mean? Okay. When you recruit in the top 15, I mean your aggregate 4-year rolling recruiting score. So what is your recruiting aggregate? So Auburn, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, LSU, and Texas A&M, they're all top 15 recruiters. So lucky enough for LSU, they don't play any of those schools in the first 3 weeks. So what does that mean? Well, it means these next 2 games gives us a good litmus test to see if Myles Brennan actually is any good. You cannot judge Myles Brennan, and you cannot judge my friend and yours, Bo Pelini, after 1 week. Now, number one LSU football fan says bad game management, poor tackling, poor coverage, and no halftime adjustments cost LSU the game. We say hi to John. Goose makes a good point. LSU refused to run the football on first down in the first half. LSU was behind the chains in the first half. Both good points. But this is the truth, okay? And I actually had 2 of you send me messages about this very thing. Oh, Carter, I'm sure you were super excited to see Bo Pelini fail because you weren't a big fan of the hire. Here's the bottom line. The same thing I led today's show with. It's just my opinion. All of this channel is just my opinion. It's your comments and your opinions as well. Okay? It's just my opinion. My opinion doesn't necessarily lie in the same lane as what I want to happen. I want Bo Pelini to be Bill Belichick on defense. I want him to succeed as much as anybody. Okay? Just because I personally didn't like the hire doesn't mean I don't want him to succeed. So for some of you, let's say some videos that I release has a strong opinion about a certain subject. Okay? Months ago, with Chat Sports, all right? And I appreciate that comment, Eric. What's up, Tremaine? What's up, Quan? Who did you want for the defense coordinator before Bo Pelini was hired? Great question. There were a lot of names out there, Charlie Strong being one of them, who's already proven to be one of the greatest SEC defensive coordinators ever when he was at Florida. I thought Charlie Strong would be great. I thought Charlie Strong fits well with Ed Orgeron's personality. He is Charlie Strong's not a deeply emotional guy. Ed Orgeron's very emotional. And so is Bo Pelini. But Charlie Strong is willing to change. Charlie Strong is good at adjusting things during the course of a game. And yes, it was against Jordan Jefferson, but the best defensive game plan I've ever seen was Charlie Strong against LSU. I believe this was 2010, maybe. It was 13-3. It was the final score, and he called a perfect game. So, and we'll get to more Myles Brennan talk in just a second. Charlie Strong was a guy that I liked. I really love Randy Shannon. I think Randy Shannon is very underrated. As a recruiter, he's excellent. As a position coach, he was excellent. As a defensive coordinator, he's proven to be great. So those were just two names that I loved to fit in at LSU. So Todd Grantham was another name out there. What's up, Judah? What's up, Rourke Chick? What is Rourke Chick? So also, some of you know from our other live streams, it's going to be a little bit more laid back as well. We got a deep dish pizza in the oven. What are y'all eating tonight? What are we drinking tonight? Okay. I'm going to get my lime beer in a second. My lovely girlfriend's going to bring me a lime beer. So what are we drinking? What are we eating tonight? Are you drinking Capri Sun? Are you drinking Hennessy? What are we rolling with tonight?
We got Joe Biden.
Oh, we got Wingstop, Judah? Oh, that's one of my girlfriend's favorite spots.
I love the lemon pepper.
Coke. Wait, Tommy, you're having Coke Zero and Pop-Tarts tonight? Miller Lite and Wingstop.
Am I allowed to show that? No.
Goose said he's taking the night off from drinking. We have to be better on defensive adjustments. The defensive line played well, played QB zone with the spy. So, like I said, you should never judge one person off of, and this is anything in life. Let's see. How much longer till the pizza? We got the pizza in the oven. We gotta get a time check on the pizza, guys. 5 minutes.
5?
Yeah, let's go ahead and check it because that oven cooks very, very heavily.
No,
So go on ahead.
it cooks hot.
Eating some Popeyes fried chicken right now. Rourke Chick is my name, man. Don't hate. Rourke, your first name is Rourke? So Stella Artois and Chili's? People still eat Chili's? I actually like Chili's. Tommy says he's at work. Okay. So anyway, this is why I didn't want Bo Pelini, okay? And I think he's going to get better. It's hard to not get better, okay? What's up, Plum? About time you came, Plum. Dear goodness. All right, Tremaine. Okay. So, this is why, all right? I'm not a fan of retread coaches, okay? Like King Ulysses just mentioned, and like I've said repeatedly, one game sample size is just too small. But even with Derek Stingley out, and Derek Stingley Jr. is obviously the greatest LSU corner, especially as a freshman, we've ever seen. So you lose him less than 24 hours before the game, okay? You don't feel comfortable playing zone coverage because you have a lot of new defensive backs. But this is a problem, is that you had a pass rush. And this is what I talked about in our Bo Pelini video a few days ago. If you have a pass rush, okay, there is no excuse to not have some success. Is the pizza ready?
It's burnt.
It's burnt? No, it's not burnt.
Do you not smell it?
Oh my God, come on. Let's at least
It's
make.
hot, baby. I can't.
Is it really burnt?
Yes, it's burnt. I don't know how it burned.
You burnt the pizza.
I mean, you can eat the top.
It smelled like it was burning. Oh, no, we lost the pizza. I was excited.
Another one.
I know, but this was the one we had to get from Target. I just want to eat that one.
No,
I don't
you're
care.
not gonna like it.
I don't care
It's
for.
not even fully cooked in the middle.
Then why is it burned at the bottom?
I don't know that oven. I hate that oven.
Don't blame it on the God.
I mean, it's like stuck.
Stuck to the bottom?
Yeah. Baby, I'm sorry.
I smelled. I knew it. I knew that we were gonna burn. I knew it. Okay, we got to get back to this. Looks like you're eating chilies. Well, we're gonna eat this.
No,
I don't.
we're not. It's solid burnt. I'm gonna have to cook the other one.
Okay, no. I want this one. I want this one.
It's raw in the middle, so.
Well, I'll just eat the edge.
It's fucking burnt.
Okay, we'll work on it.
No, we won't work on it. What do you want to eat?
I just want that. I got to get back to this. Okay. All right. I don't know. Okay, so anyway, back to this. We'll figure out the food situation. Allie Gay. Okay, so this is a big thing that alarmed me, okay? Was that LSU had a pass rush, okay? So that is the most ironic thing in the world, all right? You gave up 600 gazillion yards through the air. That is more than 200 yards that you've ever given up in an SEC football game, okay? Once again, since 2014, LSU had never given up more than 500 yards passing. You give up over 600 yards passing.
Okay, maybe it's just the edges.
So, when you only give up 600 yards passing, and I say only because it looked like it was more than that, the problem is that should not happen if you have a pass rush, okay? If you have a pass rush, you don't play man coverage. You play zone, and you keep everything in front of you. You don't get beat deep. You don't run man coverage against a coach that runs mesh, okay? I'm not an X's and O's genius, okay? I've done film studies. I'm not a genius. I feel like I know a decent amount. But there are people smarter than me that would tell you that there are better ways to run a defense than to run man coverage against a coach that runs mesh concepts. So anyway, a lot of you are talking about Myles Brennan. Okay. Noel says, wasn't Myles' debut better than Joe Burrow's? Does that mean that there's hope? Okay. So I've seen this stat passed around a whole lot. Okay. We've got to be honest about statistics. Okay. Statistics don't lie. You've always heard that phrase, right? Stats don't lie, but they do deceive. Okay. LSU was running a different offense in Joe Burrow's debut compared to Myles Brennan's debut. Okay. So in Joe Burrow's debut, LSU, what was that? That was the Miami game, correct? LSU had a pick six in that game. All right. So when you have a pick six, or was that the debut? I might be getting them confused. Either way, you should never, ever, okay, it was against Miami. LSU had a pick six in that game. Pick sixes can skew statistics. Either way, LSU was playing a different game. They were running a completely different offense. All right. And Joe Burrow had just gotten to campus, as Goose points out. So to compare the two, it is a fair comparison that it is both of their first starts. And it is the first time you run out there in the purple and gold. But that's about where the comparison stops. Now, of course, Myles Brennan is going to get better. You would hope he would get better. But if you compare over 300 yards in a passing offense against a team that was running a high-powered passing attack, then that is a little unfair. Also, as a lot of you can attest, last year, LSU's defense wasn't as good as defenses in the years past because they were having to play more snaps because LSU's offense scored so quickly. The same thing was true was Mississippi State's defense. They also they also played more snaps because Mississippi State scored so daggum quickly. Another thing, okay, this is huge, all right? And this is something, unless you've played the quarterback position or unless you've played defensive line in your life, and lucky enough for me, I was a pass rusher in high school. So personally, that was the only way I can get on the field. I wasn't fast enough to play linebacker or defensive back. So I was an undersized pass rushing defensive end and defensive tackle. The biggest thing you always look for in a pass rush is that as a pass rusher, if you know that there is an immobile quarterback at quarterback, you can tee off upfield because you know that they can't run underneath your rush. They can't hurt you with your legs. That is something that you have to overcome as a pocket quarterback. You have to be that much better of a thrower. You have to be that much better of a decision maker. So now that defensive lines know that Myles Brennan can't hurt you with his legs, they are going to tee off. So if you look at the LSU offensive line, they were pushed back a lot in that game. Mississippi State runs a lot of stunts, which is another term for the defensive end going to the inside and the defensive tackle going to the outside. Basically, they're swapping spots right after the snap. Those stunts are really hard to block if those guys are going full speed into the gap. They're able to go full speed into the gap because Myles Brennan can't run. So that's basically the gist of it.
You want it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, let's do the pizza.
What do you want to eat with it?
That's just it. Pizza and Parmesan cheese. We'll do it.
And what else?
We say hi to Mark and lime beer. That's it.
Oh, is that what you like?
Yeah, that's it. Lime beer. Thank you, baby. Thank you. So Marcus says Brennan missed some things that should have not been related to the offensive scheme, but there were a lot of plays where the offensive coordinator and the wide receivers failed him. Exactly. I really do believe, and this was a huge part of their offense last year, okay? Huge part of their offense was the 5 wide receiver set. I don't think LSU can run that as much this year because if you go 5 wide, you don't have a personal protector. You don't have a quarterback that can evade a rush at a high level. I think 5 wide is a difficult formation to run. So, yeah. We say hi to Marcus. He also says, I don't worry so much about how good the first game looks, more whether they fit, where they are being put, and secondarily, where they can execute what does suit them. Okay. And I agree with that. Number one LSU fan says Peter Parrish could have run the 5 wide set. So, a lot of you have sent me messages about Peter Parrish. What happened? I don't know. I really don't know what happened with Peter Parrish. I will tell you this, though, and I do think this is a little unfair to LSU in this situation. Obviously, it'd be nice to still have Peter Parrish around. He would be an experienced face in the locker room. From what I've heard, for the most part, his teammates liked him. I had a source say that, the quarterbacks like being around him. That there might be some people that refute that. I don't know. The problem is that we don't see these guys play in any preseason games. More often than not, we have seen more quarterbacks committed to LSU that we've never seen play than we've actually gotten to see play. And Judah says Parrish had no arm. Okay, let's go. King Ulysses, I'm still high on the offense. Myles was gun shy. I agree. But if a player, he will progress and not regress over the season. Who's the next man up at left tackle this week? The right guard might need to be replaced as well. So,
may I sit this down?
Yeah, go ahead. Let's see what we got here.
Right. It's really, would you just look? It's really not burnt, babe. I promise.
Oh, I know. I'm not mad about it.
It's just the under part right there.
Okay, I'm not worried.
But everything else is fine.
We're good on the pizza?
I promise.
We're good on the pizza. All right, perfect.
But I know how mad you get when I burn it.
I know. I don't get mad. Look at that. That looks good. We got some Parmy. Okay. I'd give Dummerville a try behind Dare Rosenthal. Okay, Parrish had no arm. All right. Let's see.
Tell me when.
I'll do it.
No, I want to do it.
All right, just go. Go ahead. There we go. Pizza's not burnt, guys. It's the most important
It's
thing.
just the little crusty part. It's
Okay,
not bad
that's
at
good.
all.
There we go. Perfect.
I brought you more
Photo bomb. No ranch. We're good. Okay, everyone, round of applause. Yeah. Pizza's ready. Say hi.
Hi.
Hi. Hey, baby.
Hey.
Hey, babe. So, you guys are cute. Well, I say thank you, Leandra. She's cute, not me. So,
You're not cute.
you don't have to be as fast as Burrow to run that spread, but you do have to be comfortable moving around the trash. Look at Montana and Breeze. Exactly. And you see, that's my problem, Marcus, is, I think LSU shouldn't banish the 5 wide set, but until you get comfortable running, or until Myles Brennan looks comfortable out there, you cannot run that set. It's a weird set. I think we need to transfer another Ohio State quarterback. True. Yes, Marcus, you have to be able to move in the pocket. Myles Brennan just didn't show that. I think he also said this, that he didn't want to throw the football with a pass rusher in his throwing lane. SEC defensive linemen are all tall now, okay? Arms are always going to be in your throwing lane, okay? So you got to get the football out. You honestly do. So, yeah,
Let your beer freeze for just
I'm pretty excited about Myles Brennan. I really am over these next 2 games. I do think he's going to be I think he is going to be someone that steps up these next 2 games. And I also believe this, and I want your thoughts on this, okay? And Neil Farrell did look good. Was Myles handed the job due to loyalty, or did he earn it? I'm asking because we didn't go after any quarterbacks on the transfer market. And that may be it too, that there wasn't a real quarterback competition. But guess what? There really wasn't one when Joe Burrow came in. There wasn't really much talk about Joe Burrow versus Myles Brennan. It was basically Joe Burrow just winning that job. But Judah does make a point. Myles got that job due to loyalty, and Myles was the main backup. He does know the offense. So yeah, we should have gotten De'Ara King as soon as he reached out. Zach Mettenberger. So this leads us to our next question. Okay. And I know Ulysses brought up offensive line depth. What's up with Cardale Thomas? Jason Hines had a few rough spots there. When LSU ran 2 deep in the warmups, Cardale Thomas wasn't even in the 2 deep in the warmups. So, what does LSU do at the offensive line if they don't step it up? Let's see. Myles theoretically gave them the half-established element for that partial offensive changeover. Obviously, as Carter's said many times, it's hard to evaluate how they look in your offense live. So, this leads me to another point. And I haven't done it on this channel, but, when I've done Sirius XM and other stuff, I've always brought this up. I believe college football not necessarily needs a preseason. I would really love off-season 7-on-7 in college football. I think that would give us a better idea of who the best quarterback is. Because honestly, with the way college football practices now, I just don't think you can tell beyond reasonable doubt who the better quarterback is unless you have competition against a team that is not your own. Let me throw this out to you, and I want you to think long and hard about this. Did you know college football is the only sport, legit, it is the only American sport at any level where we don't have preseason, where we don't have exhibition games against teams that are not your own? And obviously we didn't have it this year in any sport because of, the pandemic, but we don't have preseason. So I don't know why we don't have college 7-on-7 tournaments. I have no idea why we don't do it. They played all the time in high school. More defensive linemen moved to offense, more big, fast tight ends. Okay. Let's see. Welcome, Jason. I don't understand what Myles was doing this offseason. He should have been practicing throwing accurate passes, offensive coordinator. Let's see. Bro, what are you talking about? No college sport has a preseason. College basketball plays exhibitions. College baseball plays exhibitions. They do. And if not, at least in college baseball, you get midweek games that don't really count for anything. Let's see. Every sport does. High school football, NFL, every sport gives you a preseason, or at the very least, they have intra-squad practices that allows you to grow up, or that allows you to get actual reps against a team that is not your own. Let's see. LSU Sports Fanatic, welcome. Do you think rotating all three running backs every offensive series hindered one of them from catching a rhythm? Yes, but then again, you don't know who the best back is. Robert says the offensive line is the most glaring deficiency right now. I think it's a little too tight to tell. I was a little shocked. I had really good intel tell me that Dale Rosenthal was going to break out, and he did not break out. It was not a great game for him. Let's see. We need to establish a run to not be able to be able to pass this year. Complete opposite from last year. That might be the case, but for those of you that watched the Myles Brennan film study, you saw on first down all three of the play calls. So the score was 34-31. All right. And Judah says Rosenthal is still a project. Yes, but he made a lot of mistakes. I mean, a lot of mistakes. 2 on this critical drive. So if you've already watched the video, we'll just go over it again. The score is 34-31. Our boy Ali Gay steps up and forces a fumble along with Jacoby Stevens, and Jacoby Stevens is able to recover the fumble. So on first down, LSU takes over deep in Mississippi State territory. They call a play to the left side. They run John Emery to the left. And out of the 3 running backs, John Emery is the best runner going to the outside. So you call a perfect play, but Dare Rosenthal and Ed Ingram has a bad communication mistake, and John Emery gets tackled for a 3-yard gain. Second play, perfect play call. Easy throw to Jaray Jenkins, wide open. Myles Brennan doesn't throw it. He throws it away. Third down, Dare Rosenthal gets pushed back into the quarterback. Myles Brennan can't step up and make the throw or run for the first down, even though both of those opportunities were there. So the problem for me was that all 3 of those play calls were good. And I am a Steve Ensminger guy. I do think he's good enough to do this without Joe Brady. But my big problem is athletically, LSU on the offensive line kind of got pushed around. And when your offensive line gets pushed around like that, it kind of sort of made way, shows the deficiencies of your quarterback. Lionel says the offensive line was not that bad. The quarterback has to stay in the pocket. It's true. When you run a passing attack, ask any offensive lineman, would they rather run block or pass block? They run block. Okay? Pass blocking, especially with the way that an offense run now, have a large connection to how good your quarterback is. So we'll see. So what I want to do, let's talk about the running backs for a little. I want everyone right now to comment which running back should be the bell cow. Okay? Which running back? Type J for John Emery, type C for Chris Curry, or type T for TDP. Okay? I'm going to take a bite of pizza, and I want to see what back you think deserves the carries. Pizza's good. Deep dish Chicago. That's good. Okay, let's do the tabulation here real quick. Some of y'all are eating chili. Some of y'all are just hanging out tonight. Emory should be the third down back. King Alyssa still says Chris Curry. Some of you say J. Some of you say T. TDP. J. Okay, so here's the next thing. Obviously, there's a vote for each and every one. It looks as if John Emery has the most. Okay. Plum's doing tacos tonight. TDP is proof. Okay. John Emery, I think he's better receiver out of the backfield. Chris Curry on the first, TDP on second, and John Emery on third down. Then you can't really develop rhythm. Emery has the most athletic potential to work in space, a la Alvin Kamara and Christian McCaffrey. So, this is the next question I want to ask you. All right? And I know it's just been one game, and we deserve to have more freedom here on this live stream, but on this offense. What do you think the offense should look like? Would you like to see a more running-based attack? Would you like to see Myles Brennan under center more? Would you like to see the old school formation, I formation? Heck, everyone remember Connor Neighbors? Anyone remember Quinn Johnson? We make fun of fullback, but those guys were good football players. Heck, Connor Neighbors is still on the staff. So do you think they should run the football more? Oh, thanks for telling me that, Bearded. I don't know why that's the case. Definitely not. They should not bring back the fullback. Okay. I like the spread, but we have to establish a run first. So you would like a more running-based attack. I don't want the less Myles offense back, but I do want a more balanced attack. Okay. I can see that. If we run old school, we don't score 34. Okay. I see what you're saying. Thank you, Goose. I don't want the less I could see that. Okay. So, would you be okay if LSU slows down this offense? Or do you think LSU these next two games? Because let's be honest, LSU, the best they've ever looked was last year. This is how I feel about how the offense looks. All right. They should stick with what they did last year for at least this game against Vanderbilt. And then do what Austin says here. LSU could copy what the Saints are doing now. Dynamic running backs, good tight ends, one superstar wide receiver. Okay. Each one says they need to pick it up. Hey, that's no one's disagreeing with that. They need to get better. So, what would you like to see versus Vanderbilt? Would you like to see more carries to Chris Curry? Okay. A little bit of all, just like New England. Okay. Well, New England had Cam Newton, a healthy Cam Newton, drop in their lap, and that is pretty freaking nuts.
How is it, babe?
Oh, it's excellent. Thank you so much.
Still okay?
That's excellent. Thank you. So, Leandra's TDP. Brennan definitely needs fits of a good running back to get the play action going. So, here's something else about that. You know, the running game can kind of help get that offensive line into a rhythm as well. This is what Marcus says. I actually, on our video tomorrow, I'm dedicating a whole segment because Marcus had the funniest freaking comment I've ever heard on this channel. Just FYI, tomorrow at noon, our video is something completely different. We're not going to touch on it in the live stream. But guys, this is not good news for LSU. There was something that happened in the SEC this weekend, and I was blown the freak away, okay? Something happened in the SEC this weekend, and I was freaking out about LSU this year. Tomorrow at noon. So be ready for the video tomorrow at noon. Here's a little hint. Everybody in the SEC got better, and it's not just Mississippi State. So we'll talk about that tomorrow at noon. Larry says, what's up, Larry? I want to see John Emery catch more passes out of the backfield. Okay, I'm with you on that.
There you go.
There we go. National Championship beer is in order. Thank you so much, baby.
Are you having fun?
Having a good time.
We're actually debating.
We gotta remember that Ed got to the ship his third year ahead of schedule. He knows what he's doing. I do believe Ed Orgeron knows what he's doing. One more thing about Coach O. All right. And this is what I always want you to look for in a coach and in a leader. And Chris Paul is always a good example of this. Coach O took full responsibility for this loss. Was this loss entirely on him? No. Anyone with two eyes can clearly see that. This was not Coach Orgeron's fault at all. But when a leader, a powerful leader, does not take responsibility, that is a major red flag, okay? Ed Orgeron could have easily blamed it. Oh, we didn't have Derek Stingley, and Bo Pelini's new, and this was Myles' first start. But Ed Orgeron said, hey, this is on me. And that, to me, is a sign of a good freaking coach. And I'm happy that Ed Orgeron is my football coach. And I'm telling you, I really do mean that. I'll run through a freaking brick wall for that guy. If he legit said, hey, come here, I'll run through, I'm legit, I will do it. I love this guy that much. So you can always judge a coach by his personality after a loss. And this was the first time we've seen Ed Orgeron after a loss. And early in his LSU tenure, I was furious when he put some blame on Matt Canada and the LSU offense. And we remember the Matt Canada days. I think Matt Canada received too much blame, but I didn't like what Ed Orgeron did with Canada, even though he didn't really like him. That has since changed. He took the blame. So Ed Orgeron deserves a lot of credit about that. And did Ed Orgeron do a bad job coaching this team on Saturday? They didn't make adjustments, and its timeout usage in the fourth quarter was atrocious. And he didn't kick a field goal down 10. All right? Those are all mistakes, but for the most part, this game was not Ed Orgeron's fault. It wasn't. Let's see. Before we get into recruiting, all right, because a lot of you have some juicy Corey Foreman takes. Noel says, why didn't Coach O look at Bo and say, hey, let's just try the zone defense once, just once? So this is the thing with new defensive coordinators, okay? I had this on good authority going into last year, and as the season went on, it was clear. Ed Orgeron had the ultimate say in play calling. So for any play or any decision, Ed Orgeron can get in the way of the coordinator and say, look, this is what I want to do. Last year, he never did it. He rarely, if at all, did it. I don't know about this year. This year could be different. The Bo Pelini and his dynamic could be different. But last year, he let Veranda make all the defensive calls. So I don't know the dynamic. I don't. So to answer your question, no, I don't know the answer to that. I really don't. Let's go to Gerald. Welcome, Gerald. Welcome, Kevin. Welcome, Austin. Austin, I saw that you just subbed my channel. I appreciate you, man. I really do. We're close to 1,000. 1,000's a big number. What gives me confidence is after a loss, this team usually responds with a vengeance. So I'm not going to lie to you. I am betting the house on LSU to cover the spread this weekend. I really am. And I'm not just saying that just to say it. I really do believe LSU is going to go out and kick some ass this weekend. Especially if we get Sting back. But the truth is, and I promise you this. Okay. Now, I love you. Each one, teach one. What does Ryan Clark have to do with this at all? Let me read your comment. I take a bite of pizza and I look up. Ryan Clark is a doofus dude. He gets on TV and talks about these shows about Saban makes a powerhouse program. Keyshawn, Ryan Clark's fine. I know a lot of you have issue with Ryan Clark, especially some of the stuff he said about the Saints. But Ryan Clark is a Tiger. The players like Ryan Clark. He did a lot for the team this offseason. So, I think Ryan Clark is fine. Alan, I got pizza, baby. Deep dish from, I think, Target. What's up, Bubba? No, they had 2 offensive players from last year and 2 defensive players and a bunch of newbies and subs. Last year, the defense gave up 500 yards to the Texas team. Okay. So let's be honest, all right? That Texas game last year was horrible. Texas had 5 second-half possessions. They scored on 4 touchdowns and 1 field goal. They scored on each and every one of them. So the Texas game was a mess, all right? A big, big, big mess. And that was part of the reason why Ed Orgeron wanted him as a coordinator. So if you go look at the efficiency numbers, all right, and I checked in with a few of my analytics guys, did you know that LSU defensively was just as efficient as they were in 2019 per play as they were in 2018? The problem was that LSU ran more plays, and they were playing with a new offense that scored very quickly. But if you go by a per-play basis, LSU was just as efficient. This was the problem with LSU last year, was that they were horrible in the fourth quarter against Alabama and Texas. Alabama on their last 4 possessions scored 4 touchdowns. So that's what really ticked off Ed Orgeron. And it almost cost LSU a national championship because they weren't good defensively versus Texas and Alabama in the fourth quarter. So Bubba makes a good point. The difference is that the reason why you brought in Bo Pelini was to make these fourth quarter stops and to make these second half adjustments. And Bo Pelini legit did the exact opposite of that. So if you're just joining us, my official position on Bo Pelini and Myles Brennan, you've got to let these plays run itself out. And by these plays, these next 2 games, even if Myles Brennan sucks versus Vanderbilt this year, if it gets to that point, so be it. But I do not want that. I really don't. Okay. I think there's a lot of good freshman quarterbacks and transfer quarterbacks out there. A lot of you have mentioned De'Ara King. J. Daniels had heavy connections to LSU, heavy connections to Ed Orgeron. JT Daniels would have been a good fit. So we'll see. Now, let's talk about Vanderbilt. All right, really quickly. They have a true freshman quarterback who played well against Texas A&M. He wasn't great. He had the best throw I've ever seen a Vanderbilt quarterback make. Better than any Cutler quarterback throw for Vanderbilt. This kid threw a dime against Texas A&M. Now, it was his only touchdown, but good guy, it was a dime. So Ken Sears, I don't remember his name. He's a 3-star quarterback out of Texas. I've always said this about these 3-star quarterbacks out of Texas. Whether it be Baker Mayfield or Johnny Manziel or whoever, Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, they're overlooked. There's always in every recruiting class a 3-star quarterback out of Texas that can ball. And this kid looks pretty good. Vandy scored 35 on us and finished 3-9. Yeah, you're right. And in fact, Vandy scored 37 and still went, or did they score 37 or 38? I don't remember. Either way, Vanderbilt, we'll see what happens. There should be no excuse for the offense, though. Even though Vanderbilt held Texas A&M to 17 points, there's no excuse when you have Terrace freaking Marshall that you should not be able to put up at least 30 points, at least. So we'll see. It was 38. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So now, before we get out of here, and before we have the huge freak out here, okay, let's chat about Corey Foreman, okay? And we'll answer this question first from all because it has a little to do with Corey Foreman. What was the deal with Kayshon Boutte not playing as much? This was the one thing I thought was kind of weird this offseason when Ed Orgeron said Kayshon Boutte would be the starter. I didn't like that simply because he wasn't with the team in the spring. And to kind of force him into the starting lineup is weird, right? Especially with the way Jaray Jenkins played. You know, the Jaray Jenkins thing was just kind of wild. And Kayshon Boutte, his one target this weekend, he got bad alligator arms. Really bad. And even Eric Gilbert, who had the touchdown, had a few catches. He also had a drop. And you guys saw it. His blocking was bad. He shouldn't really be blocking anyway. That's not his game. So, true freshman, the SEC level has actual NFL bodies out there. So, true freshmen, the ones that are actually good as true freshmen, how many LSU greats, and I mean greats, were excellent as true freshmen? Okay? Excellent. How many? Derek Stingley Jr., Patrick Peterson, Tyrann Mathieu, Devon Godchow was actually a really good true freshman defensive tackle. But notice it's mostly defensive guys. Wide receiver, think about all the great wide receivers that have played at LSU. None of them, none of them were great as true freshmen. None of them. Kevin Falk, okay, he's a running back. What's up, Mark? Leonard Fournette, he wasn't exceptional as a true freshman. He was very good, but he wasn't exceptional. At the end of the year, he was exceptional. But I mean exceptional out the gate. There's only a handful. As great as Jamar Chase and Terrace Marshall and Easton Jefferson or Clyde, it takes years to get good at playing in the SEC. Years. And also, and this leads into the Corey Foreman stuff, okay? Huge news that Corey Foreman came into town in Baton Rouge. I hate that he saw that the team was terrible. Well, you know what Corey Foreman saw? Immediate freaking playing time. Okay? Something else. I had an NFL scout text me this weekend. Saw a tweet of mine. He's a friend of mine. Met him in the press box years ago. I'm not sure if Ali Gay will be here next year. Ali Gay had a write-up today in Pro Football Focus. Corey Foreman will play immediately at LSU. That's what he saw. He saw defensive ends making plays, and he saw potential playing opportunity. And I also think Corey Foreman can play defensive tackle on passing sets, even on running sets. I went back and looked at Corey Foreman's tape, and I was trying to remember who he reminds me of. Corey Foreman plays a lot like Aaron Donald in high school. Very physical but fast defensive linemen that have nasty hands. Corey Foreman's hands are gross. So we'll see. Corey Foreman will play right away. So don't think that his one game that he came to see looked to be a disaster. Hell, he doesn't care about that. He and Mason Smith are probably like, hey, we could play. We could play right away. So, yeah, I think he sees immediate playing time at defensive tackle and defensive end. So, And if you go watch Corey Foreman's tape, he actually lines up at defensive end a fair amount, or defensive tackle. But here's the thing, and this brings up a very interesting thing. Obviously, Corey Foreman's a rarity. He's one of the few true freshmen that would be really good right out the gate. What's up, Mike? I didn't welcome Bubba. Welcome, Bubba. Welcome, Quan. Later, Mike. Oh, Mike's saying bye. Okay. So this is also interesting. All right. LSU just won a national championship with a transfer quarterback, a transfer tight end, a transfer offensive guard, a transfer defensive tackle, all of which were some of their best players last year. Who are the two best players on the field for LSU this past weekend? I mean, the two best. If you don't include Jacoby Stevens, the two best players on the field for LSU were Ali Gay and Jabril Cox. Both transfers, okay? If you actually go run the transfer numbers, LSU is one of the few SEC schools that have double-digit transfers that come in. Last year, they had double-digit transfers, okay? So this brings up an interesting question. Transfers like Jabril Cox and Ali Gay. Where did Jabril Cox play last year? Well, he played at North Dakota State University, right? And North Dakota State is obviously a very prestigious program, but the competition that he's playing isn't nearly as difficult as obviously the SEC. So Jabril Cox, Austin says Jabril Cox was a non-factor, but overall he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good to me. Ali Gay looked superb. He was easily LSU's best player on the field. Easily. So what does that tell us? Does that tell us anything? It actually tells us a lot. That you cannot replicate game reps. And at the college level, experience matters so much. When your two best defensive guys, your best defensive lineman, your best linebacker, both have really good games from week one against SEC competition, you've got to find more transfers that are out there. So, and Lemon, you are right. Jabril Cox did not guard Kylan Hill out of the backfield the best. That's the best running back in the SEC. That's probably the best running back LSU plays this year. He's that good. He's Clyde, but he doesn't play on a Clyde team. I think Kylan Hill is really that good. I'm shocked that he even came back. Heck, I'm shocked Etienne at Clemson came back. So we spend so much time talking about recruiting, and recruiting does matter. Your recruiting classes will often tell you who's going to be in the running for a national championship. But when your transfer rate hits at that high a level, whether it's JUCO or whether it's FCS or whatnot, and I know a lot of you are going to say, well, Darren Evans didn't look good. Hell, he just got on campus. He didn't get to go through Tommy Moffitt's conditioning. He's just, I think Darren Evans could be a good defensive back. I don't think you could judge him. I mean, heck, he didn't even know he was playing at LSU less than a month before playing versus Mississippi State. So, and as DB7, Darren Evans was trust. Najee Harris, I would still take Kylan Hill over Najee Harris. I would. And Najee Harris is a good player. Kylan Hill, to me, is just a little bit more athletic, and he's definitely better out of the backfield, even though Najee Harris torched us. He torched us. Torched us. Exactly. Same thing, Christian. I agree. Jay Ward, he wasn't even supposed to dress out. He's not in shape. How can we judge Jay Ward after not getting a full, the conditioning and all of that? Clyde Edwards-Helaire balled out yesterday. Heck yeah. I tweeted that he was doing well. The problem, this is a big problem. was that Clyde Edwards-Helaire had a few plays on Patrick Queen, and I was like, oh, okay, I don't want to get too excited. So, yeah. So, once again, the main point of tonight's live stream, we could use a transfer corner right about now. Okay? Bring him in. If Alabama kept giving Najee Harris the ball, we might have lost. I'm not judging them. Imagine running out and running to your toe and get exactly. And you stay in man coverage when these guys have run longer than Meb Keflezighi. That was a cross-country reference, by the way. Marcus says Flott was the biggest disappointment, bad at either tracking the ball or reading the route. And here's the thing. Cordell Flott had a good year last year. He wasn't great, but I kept reading about how Cordell Flott took the next step. It's kind of hard for me to judge him because when you go from this year thinking you're going to be the number 2 corner to less than 24 hours, you're the number 1 guy, that's tough. It's really tough. Flott is the number 3. So I agree. I was also, I'm also a little worried about that other safety position. You know, I don't think you could put Jacoby back deep. I don't think you can make him the deep safety. It's got to be Todd Harris or Mo Hampton or Jordan Tolles. I'll tell you this, Todd Harris is not in anybody's good graces after this past Saturday. So we'll see. KV2? Who's KV2? Kerry Vincent? Kerry Vincent was definitely not bad. Let's see. Bubba says we'll be okay 7-3 or 6-4. So tomorrow, I had so many texts and messages from you guys. We're going to be a 7-3 team and a 6-4 team. So tomorrow, our video that drops at noon will address that very thing. And guys, someone said Arkansas didn't get better. So I used to cover Arkansas football for a living. Okay. Arkansas had the worst coaching staff I've ever seen. But Chad Morris, who was awful for Auburn this past weekend, their defensive coordinator, and they waited months. They waited months to get John Chavis. And all of you guys know John Chavis is not a good defensive coordinator. And I don't think I have to really convince you guys to hate John Chavis more than you already do. I'm telling you, Arkansas is going to at least be competent. These last few years, they had the most incompetent coaching staff I've ever seen. I don't know why they waited and paid so much for John Chavis when he's awful. But they got a good coaching staff now. Barry Odom was a good coach at Missouri. He wasn't Gary Pinkel, but he was good. So Arkansas is going to play hard, and you have to play them the week after playing Alabama. Ole Miss looked good against Florida. Florida looked exceptional this past weekend. Kyle Pitts might be the best player in college football. He might be the best player in the SEC. I'll definitely go that far. He's good. If I were to rank the SEC players, best SEC football players, Kyle Pitts would be number 1. Jalen Waddle would be number 2. So, yeah. No, I appreciate that, Bubba. I really do. LSU needs the number 1 safety from Lafayette to come in this cycle. Didn't Sage Ryan say he was going to announce a top 2? And his top 3 were Clemson, Alabama, and LSU? Sage Ryan is a huge recruit. I actually do. And those that watch my videos, you know I don't put too much stock in one recruit. Historically, one recruit doesn't matter. LSU had the greatest team of all time, and they missed out on 2 5-stars in Alabama the 2 years prior. One recruit doesn't change a whole lot. Sage Ryan's a really, really, really good football player. He's a really good football player. He hasn't had to play much defensive back at LCA, but He's just a really good player. I mean, he just jumps out. Let's see. Mark, come on. Mark, this is what I don't like. If we lose to Vandy, then you're not a fan. You're a bandwagon. Okay? Is that overall offense and defense? Let's just say offense. Kyle Pitts is number 1. Jalen Waddle is number 2. Number 3, I guess, would be KJ Costello right now, even though we only have a 1-game sample. And like Bubba said, Vandy didn't look that incredible against Texas A&M, but they look good. They're not going to be a run over. And on tomorrow's video, let's take a look at this on a macro level, all right? Macro versus micro. On a macro level, Joe Burrow guaranteed that you won every single game. He was that good. That's why I have this shirt. Joe knows Heisman with the Heisman post. So, obviously, Joe Burrow's our favorite LSU quarterback ever. But the one thing Joe Burrow did was he guaranteed that you won every game. Okay? He did not play a bad game last year. So, in last year, I think all of you would agree, LSU would have beaten anybody, any place, anywhere. If LSU played Clemson in Greensville, South Carolina, they would have won the game. Okay? They were that good. They beat Alabama and Tuscaloosa, and the list goes on. Okay? The schedule didn't matter to LSU. That's why they're the greatest team of all time. But now, we are back in reality where we don't have all these incredible freaking players that, for the most part, are having some pretty good rookie years in the NFL. And Joe Brady's having a pretty good start in Carolina. The one thing that really concerns me is that as fans, and I talk about this in the video tomorrow, and I don't want to spoil it. The schedule matters so much more now because there's so many good teams in the SEC this year. And I know it's only 1 week, but think about it this way. Okay, college football has a lot to do with coaching. Ole Miss went from, what was his name? I don't remember their head coach's name, the interim, to Lane Kiffin. Joe Moorhead to Mike Leach. Chad Morris to Sam Pittman, the most well-respected offensive line coach in the country, is now their head coach. And as we've all seen, the position line coach has actually turned out to be a good head coach. I mean, Ed Orgeron was the best coach in college football last year. And then Missouri, I think, is going in a new direction. They had some flashes against Alabama. See you later, Plum. Talk to you soon, man. Matt Luke. Okay, Matt Luke. SEC had a good week 1, guys. And this is what scares me. Okay? And I hope you guys watch this video tomorrow. This is what scares me as an LSU fan. And it is only a one. Pete says reality sucks. It is only a 1-week sample. Okay? 1 week sample. And Austin makes a good point. Are there really that many good teams, or do we only have a 1-week sample? So I agree with you, Austin. All right. I understand tomorrow. But week 1 in the SEC, when you look at every team that played week 1 in the SEC, all 14 teams, there were 3 that really didn't play well. LSU, Texas A&M, and Georgia. Georgia finally got it together, but they didn't play well. Texas A&M didn't look good. But all these smaller teams, they moved the ball. They played hard. They played with energy. So we'll see. Let's see. Record and good don't necessarily align. The Bengals went 2-14 in the NFL last year. Would have gone 13-0 in college. If the whole level raises up the total wins. Nah, I see your logic. I do. So I'm about to get out of here. I got some pizza. It's kind of cold now. Still good. So let me ask you this. I appreciate all you guys coming to like the videos, the content. Wow, the loser channel. What's up, Tristan? Cold pizza is good. Go enjoy the debates. Ugh. I had boiled shrimp. That's good. I think SEC has the best conference. Arkansas, a couple. Okay, I see what you're saying. LSU was crazy flat Saturday. Tristan's coming in late to talk some ish. Okay, so what would you like to see out of this channel? Would you like more recruiting videos? Would you like more film studies? Would you like more interesting takes? Roll Tide, roll. Okay, welcome, Tristan. What's up with South Carolina? Good point. So they went with Colin Hill at quarterback. I did radio in South Carolina for a week, and I was shocked that they went with Colin Hill. So, yeah, they look good. They look good. I mean, they moved the football, and they've gotten better at the lines. They've recruited better. Detail talks like this are the biggest missing niche. There are only a few people who do detail. Most refuse to interact with fans. Oh, I appreciate that, Marcus. So here's the thing. I've been very lucky. What's up, Bayou Tiger? Neek, don't leave. Get something in the background. Y'all don't like Black Curtain? Good time, Carter, forever. Thank you so much. And we're going to be keeping these to an hour. But if you guys have any requests, more film studies, more recruiting, more live streams, I think the 2 live streams a week are good. As always, go Tigers. I do want this to be known, and I'll say this enough. If I'm ever critical of LSU, you got to understand, I would do anything for LSU to win every freaking football game. All right? You can be critical of something you love. Okay? Always remember that, because there's some fans that don't like what I do. All right? I have to go live during a game. You want me to do that? No? I don't know. I don't know. I think the post game, I don't think LSU review, second of the week, opponent preview. That's good. But here's the thing about the opponent previews, and I've always noticed this about in radio. When you go too deep into detail about an opponent, it can kind of get a little boring. Because if you start breaking down their backup left guard or something like that, people tune out. Raw reaction. I like that. That's right, DBU7, 46-41. Here's the one thing Nick Saban can't say. He has not had a 15-0 team, has he? Has he? Nope. Post game is the way to go. Yeah, I agree with that. We had well over 100 people on our post game. You right, I'm rolling to a championship. One-hit wonder. LSU's a one-hit wonder, guys, even though they've won, 3 national championships since 2013? Okay? Sure, Alabama's won all these titles. Tristan, all the power to you. But, guys, they've won so many national championships, they can't even count. We all know Alabama fans can't count past 10. Take that L. You know what's funny? So when I was at LSU, most of my friends in student media and a lot of my friends went to Bama because LSU and Bama would play all these big games. I remember I was in Tuscaloosa for 5 days for the 2011 matchup. Craziest night of my life was LSU beating Bama in 2011. I hung out with Robert Kraft. He was at the game. That was nuts. I talked to Robert freaking Kraft. That was fascinating. So, yeah. Given by the Harris poll. Exactly, Kevin. You can't do that. Stanford transfer quarterback, 623 DBU. Tristan, shut up, okay? Earlier in the video, okay, I was sharing my love for Jalen Waddle. I freaking love Jalen Waddle. If I was an NFL GM, okay, and this is coming from an LSU fan, I would have a long, hard look at Jalen Waddle versus Jamar Chase. I think they're both excellent. I think they'll both be Pro Bowl wide receivers. But Jalen Waddle is a baller, okay? But Jamar Chase was the best wide receiver on the greatest football team of all time. And by the way, Alabama fans, did you know that you've never been 15-0? You've never won a 15-0 national championship? Oh, yeah. See you later, Mark. Waddle is going to torch LSU this year. Hell, he torched us last year. Oh, man, that punt return against us was crazy. Chase took one. Jamar Chase dominated. Oh, I see what you're saying. I was about to say. Doing the gritty. Let's go, Eric. Do the gritty. I bought my Justin Jefferson and Clyde Edwards-Helaire rookie cards this weekend, and I'm hype. That that Justin Jefferson touchdown celebration was great. So, guys, I'm about to get out of here. Thank you so much. We had such a fun live stream. Once again, give Myles Brennan and Bo Pelini these next 2 games. Even if both of them struggle against Vanderbilt, they deserve these next 2 games simply because Myles, I don't want a true freshman starting at quarterback this year. I don't. And you did just pay Bo Pelini $2.3 million. All right, Tristan, we'll make a bet on the LSU-Bama game this year. Me and you, okay? All right, guys. Oh, you okay, Marcus, hit me up, dude. I want to get more I'm about to launch a card collecting channel soon, and I want to meet more local shop owners. Most of the stuff I do is online, so Marcus F. I'll copy and paste that. Let me see. Let's see. Marcus F. Bennett. Okay. Get you an email in a second, Marcus. Okay, guys. Let's see. Wait, someone sent me a. Oh, okay. All right, guys. Justin Jefferson. Tristan, you love this channel? Well, thank you, man. You're out in Charleston, South Carolina? Okay, that's cool. You too, Bubba? You're Charleston? I just got done doing radio in Greensville. I do radio in Greensville. I'm their fill-in host. Texas overnight. All right, guys. Well, I am at Carter the Power on social media. You can also send me a message in the comments. But if you want to message me personally, at Carter the Power, I am also carterthepower@gmail.com if you want to see me a message. I appreciate you, Gerald. Thank you so much, Bubba. There's so many good LSU channels out there, but the fact that you guys chose mine, that means a lot. I really do mean it. And it's funny because I actually am friends with all the other LSU channels. So I appreciate it. You know, I just want this to be an open line of communication. I like looking at things deeply. Every time I've ever done sports radio, I do it. I try to look at things as deeply as I possibly can, and then simplifying that deep analysis into something a little more consumable. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Bubba. I appreciate your comments as always. And we will talk to you Saturday. What's up, Jeffrey? We'll see you later, guys. Okay, tomorrow at noon, our next video drops. And don't forget to subscribe. It's a road to 1,000, okay? Let's go.